Opening with the king's pawn controls the center and opens up the light-squared bishop and queen, often leading to sharp games. The Sicilian defense controls the d4 square with c-pawn. Knight f3 develops the knight toward the center to prepare for a d4 pawn push, where the knight will recapture if black captures on d4. d6 opens up the light-squared bishop and prevents white from pushing the pawn to e5 after black eventually plays knight f6. d4 offers to trade the d-pawn for the c-pawn, giving up a center pawn for more active pieces. C takes d4 gives black 2 central pawns versus 1 central pawn for white. Knight takes d4 recaptures the pawn and activates the knight in return for having 1 central pawn versus black's 2 central pawns. Knight f6 develops the knight toward the center and attacks the undefended e4 pawn. Knight c3 defends the e4 pawn and starts to develop on the queen side. Knight c6 attacks the d4 knight and supports the e5 square. Bishop e2 develops the bishop and prepares castling. e5 takes space in the center, attacks the knight on d4, and allows the dark-squared bishop to develop. Knight f3 retreats the knight back to a central square where it controls d4 and attacks the e5 pawn. Moving from its starting spot, the bishop gets involved in the game. Castling kingside tends to be safer than queenside because the king is further from the center. Both kings are castled and ready for the middle game. One of the best moves. This creates luft for the king, providing it an escape square. h3 controls g4 and prevents bishop g4 and knight g4. Bishop e6 develops the bishop toward the center and controls the d5 square. Bishop f1 adds another defender to white's king and unblocks the central e-file for the white rook. The opening development is progressing well. This takes an outpost, a square where the knight cannot be kicked out by a pawn. This maintains the balance in material with a good trade. Recaptures. This overlooks a better way to move a knight to safety. The pawn is now adequately defended. A solid choice. This leads to losing a pawn. This misses an opportunity to tactically win a pawn. This allows the knight to control more squares. This threatens to tactically win a pawn. This kicks a knight. This moves the knight to safety. Good job bringing your queen out early to build a solid position. There was only one good move there. This overlooks an opportunity to increase a bishop's scope by moving it to a better square. Black's recapture simultaneously activates another piece. Very precise. This is the only good move. This removes a queen that was threatening to win material. Takes back. That's fine. This threatens to tactically win a pawn. That was a free pawn. That's not a mistake, but it's not the best move either. This defends a pawn that was under attack and had no defenders. The rooks are coordinated and powerfully doubled on the file. This kicks a knight. This threatens to win a pawn by eventually removing a key defender. This stops the opponent from being able to win a pawn by eventually removing a key defender. Now black can't stop white from winning a pawn if they make the right moves. This overlooks an opportunity to take an outpost with a knight. This threatens to win material through a fork. This defends the attacked pawn. This immobilizes the knight by pinning it to the king. This challenges the other rook for control of the open file. White still has an advantage, but they no longer have a winning position. This misses an opportunity to offer an equal trade of pieces. This allows the opponent to create a passed pawn. Recaptures. This misses an opportunity to take an outpost with a knight, pushing a passed pawn. This permits the opponent to eventually win material. This misses an opportunity to eventually win material. Black was worse off, but now they are in a losing position. This is the only good move. This permits the opponent to create a passed pawn. This maintains the balance in material with a good trade. This is the way to win a pawn. This moves the rook to safety.